Today we are covering dark theme in UI design, and throughout the video you should focus on the screen because there is a very big game of visuals. Don't watch this video like a podcast. Focus on the screen because if you miss on one thing you will not be able to understand anything. So focus on the screen and listen carefully what I'm telling you. Now, in this video I will tell you the theory part first, then I will show you practically how can you convert your light theme UI to the dark theme UI and how things work actually. Okay, before watching this video there are some pre-requirements, like you should know about colors, how colors work in UI design, like the basic properties of colors like hue, saturation, brightness and all that stuff. And for that I have created a video. Go watch this video, link is in the description and in the I button. Without this you will not be able to understand anything in this video. So go watch this video first, then start watching this video and we can start. Okay, now to design dark theme there are some important rules you should keep in mind. Like you should never use pure black color, like the color that have hue number of 0000. You should never use that thing. That's pure black color. You should avoid using that. There are some technical issues with the pure dark color. You should avoid using this. Next is we never use shadows in dark theme. Like we use different colors to show the elevation. If you don't know about elevation, like elevation simply means if it's a surface and I have another surface above it, so the shadow of top element will be spreaded more as compared to the bottom element. You can observe this thing in real life. If some element is on the top and some element is on the bottom, then the shadow of the top element will be spreading more and it will be very light as compared to the bottom one. So depending upon the elevation of any UI element, we change its drop shadow properties. Okay, and next thing is we desaturate the colors in dark theme. Like the primary color we are using, then we will use a little desaturated version of that color in dark theme, because if you use the same saturation amount as in light theme, then it might give a feeling that it's vibrating on the screen and there will be some accessibility issues, like the color contrast will not be proper. So we always desaturate the primary colors or any other colors, like we are using like the red color, green color or yellow color for indicators. We always desaturate the colors. I will show you that thing in a minute. Now to understand dark theme there is a concept you should understand, which is depth in design. Now in light theme we use shadows to show the elevation. Like if you imagine all the UI elements on the whole screen in 3D, then the element on the top, like the bottom, like the primary action button we have, it's on the top, so the shadow of that button will be largest, okay, as compared to any other element. Okay, but in dark theme we use different colors to show the elevation. Like in this example we have multiple layers and the color of all the layers is same. They are appearing different because of the distance of that object from the light. Like you can check this thing in real life. If you take a black paper, like complete black paper, and you place it very close to any light source, it will appear white. You can do that thing practically and it will appear white. Similar thing happens in design. The topmost layer will be white or the lightest version of that color, and the bottommost color will be darkest color. Okay, you can see that thing here, like the bottommost layer is the darkest and the topmost layer is the brightest layer we have. Okay, now if I show you this thing practically in UI, like if you just look at this keyboard layout, okay, like the bottommost layer is the darkest layer, you can see that. And if you are not able to see that thing in the video, you can open your keyboard and you will be able to see it. If you are using Google keyboard, this is a Google keyboard layout in dark theme. Obviously the bottommost layer is using the darkest color. You can see that in the color palette, the darkest color is used by the bottom layer, and then the above layer we have is the keyboard surface. Like you can see that this color, we have this color here, like it's using the second color in the color palette because it's just above the surface, so it will use one level lighter color. Then we have the keyboard keys, it's using the third one. Then we have the secondary buttons, they are using the more lighter version. Then we have the primary buttons, they are using a more lighter version. Then we have the keys. Obviously the keys are using pure white color. If I show you that thing in 3D, imagine this is your keyboard, this is the exact keyboard and this is the surface of the keyboard, like this portion here, like where the suggestions are being showed, this is portion here is the surface of the keyboard. Now this will be the darkest part from the color palette. And then we have the different keys. You can see that they are using a little lighter version. Then we have the secondary buttons or the primary buttons. Then we have the keys here. Then keys are using pure white color because they are on the top of the whole keyboard. Okay, I hope you understand what I'm trying to tell you, and you can observe this thing in majority of the apps. They use the same principles for designing dark theme. You know, some apps might look different because they use different principles and rules for designing dark theme, but I'm telling you this thing according to the material design guidelines because majority of the apps use the same thing in their design. Okay, now let's see the practical example, like how can you convert your light theme design to dark theme and how to generate color palettes for the dark theme. For that I will go to the second file. If you have watched the first episode of this series about colors in UI design, the episode I mentioned in the starting of this video, in that episode I told you how to generate color palette for UI design. I will show you that thing again. For that you have to pick your primary color. I have this blue color as my primary color. I will copy the hex code and I will run the plugin called Foundations Color Generator. Although there are other plugins, you can use your favorite plugin to generate your color palette, and I'm assuming that you have already set it up your color palette properly in the start of the project. We do that thing in the start of the project. We don't assign color randomly. That's the first thing you should do when you're starting a project in Figma. Okay, now we'll come here and change the profile to Atlassian. These are different design systems. I will go with Atlassian. You can use any other if you know how to use these things. Okay, I will simply paste the hex code here, and then I will click on create styles. Then it will generate the dark theme color palette for me. You can see that thing here. I have already generated the color palettes here, like this is with the gray colors or the dark colors, and I have the blue colors here. And you can see that I don't have large number of gray colors. Like they provide a large number of neutral palettes, but you can use them if you want. I deleted half of them. Like I deleted alternate one, like I deleted 800, like then 600, then 400. An alternative one, because we don't need that much color palettes in UI design. But there is no fixed rule. You can use all these color palettes if you want. I just deleted half of the color palette for the simplicity of this video. Now I have arranged all the color palettes here. Now in dark theme, what we do is we flip the colors, okay? And the thing I told you about saturation, like we desaturate the color. So how that thing works is actually, like if this is my primary color, like this was the brand color I was using, then in dark theme we will use a lighter version of the color, like this version of the color. In this case we are jumping one frame, and this color is the desaturated version of this color. Like this is more saturated and this is more saturated, plus it's also dark. Okay, so we mainly reduce the saturation of the primary color, and you have to do this thing for all the colors, like the reds, the yellows and the greens, or any other colors you are using for any usage. Okay, and let me show you like a design. You can see that in the background the surface color is actually darker, or like we are using a little grayer version, and for the cards I'm using a pure white color. And we have second version of this design, in that the surface color and the card color is same, and all the UI element are same, like the action bar and the chips and the cards, these all have same colors, but there is a little stroke. You can see that I have a 1 pixel stroke here, okay, that's separating the cards from the background, and the same thing is happening with the chips here, and the same thing can be done for the action bar. Although I have not added the stroke here, you can add if you want, or you can add the stroke on scroll, but I have not added it for the simplicity. Okay, first of all I will copy this UI. Okay, let me copy it by holding down Alt. Okay, and we will create both of these versions. Like let me copy this thing also. Now first of all what we will do is we will give the background color. For that I will select both of them by holding down Shift. Okay, then I will go to this option, like we have the styles option here, and I will choose the darkest color. Okay, now you have to imagine this whole thing in 3D. Like after the surface, what will be the UI element that will be on the top? That will be cards. So I will select both the cards. So you make sure that you have selected the right layer, and I will hold on Shift, and then I will press enter, so that I have selected all the cards properly. Okay, then I will choose the fill color, which use the darkest color. We will use a little lighter color for this thing. Okay, but in the second case we are using the same color as of the background color in the lighter version, so we will do the same thing here. For that I will undo it. Okay, let me undo it. I will select this one. I will select all the layers, make sure that I have selected all the cards. Go to the color palette and choose the second darkest color. Okay, then I will come back to this, select it, and choose the same color as the darkest color, and change the stroke color to the second darkest color. Okay, now we have filled all the colors. Although if you know Figma variables, so you can do this thing very easily in just one click. I'm telling you how exactly things work. In future I will create a detailed video about variables in Figma, and with the help of color variables you can convert a design from light theme to dark theme in just one click once you have set it up your basic color palette. But here I'm showing you the process of how the things actually work. Okay, now I will change the text color. Now to select the text color, you can either select all the text individually, or there is a smarter way to do it. What you have to do is simply select all of them and find the color of the text. You see this color here, this is the text color, and when I will click on this icon, it will select all the elements with that same color. So now what I will do is I will change the color to white, pure white. Okay, and make sure that you change the color from the selection colors, not from the stroke or fill, because many elements have stroke, they don't have fill, so that will be very confusing. If you just change it, it will mess up the whole design. So I will change that thing to pure white. Okay, now I have selected it. Now I will select the design again, and you see this FFF, this is the purest white color. It's most probably of this icon, like the language icon we have. Yeah, this is the color of language icon. Let me undo it, selected wall, and then I will choose the darkest color, because we are flipping the color. This was the white color and this is the darkest color we have. Okay, then I will select it. Okay, it's working fine, but there might be some errors which you need to fix manually. Like you see this play button here, it has changed to dark also. We don't need to change that thing because it's above the book cover, and book cover is not changing, so we will keep that thing same. Otherwise it might mess up design, like it's not visible. So what I will do is I will break this link and I will type F here and hit enter. Okay, then our design will be same. Then I will select the chips. Now the color of chips will depend upon their position. Like if they are scrolling with the content, like when I will scroll on the screen, if the chips are also scrolling, that depends upon your design, what you have decided for your design. If they are scrolling, then we will use the same color as of the cards, because they are on the same level. If you just imagine this whole thing in 3D. But if they are fixed, we will use a little lighter version. Like in this, if we used B700, then in this we will go one level up. I will use B600, and for that I will select this. You can see that the white color is the chip background color. Okay, choose the third version if you want to fix it. I'm using the second version because in this the chips are not fixed, they are scrolling with all other content. And then we will change the stroke color. For that I will select this thing, like you can see that I have selected all the strokes, and I will change it to one level up. Like stroke color is always lighter than the fill color in majority of the cases in dark theme. Okay, we use the second color, we will use the third color for the stroke. Then I will change the text color. Simply select it and choose the lightest color here. Okay, and this might be a little irritating or confusing as a beginner, but you have to do this thing one by one, otherwise you will not be able to understand dark theme properly. Later on you can use any plugin or set up your variables to convert this whole thing in just one click. You don't need to invest so much time in this thing, but as a beginner it's very important that you practice and understand the fundamentals properly, otherwise you will miss out on so many things. Okay, next thing we have is the chip. Now chip is using the primary color, so we will desaturate the color a little bit, and the primary color is also used in this progress bar. So what I will do is I will select all these things like this one, and the action bar is also using the primary color. So I will select all these things by holding on shift, and I will find the blue color and I will simply select it. And this B200 was the original color. I will go one level below the original color, but you can go 2 level if required. Okay, I will select it. Okay, now we have changed the color, you can see that. And then I will check the color contrast of this thing. If the color contrast is not proper, then I will make the primary color more desaturated. Now to check the color contrast, we'll go to the resources panel, search for the plugin contrast. Okay, then I will run the plugin. Okay, now the color contrast is passing, we can use that. But if the color contrast was failing in the dark color, and make sure that you have changed the text color to black, because in white it will not work. Like if I select white color, it will fail. So you have to change the color to dark. You can reduce this color more if you want, it will still work fine. You can see that the color contrast is passing. We can still use this color, but let me undo it. I will go only one level down, that will work fine. Okay, and now we will change the color of action bar and the nav bar, because they are on the same level, they are fixed on the layout. So I will select both of them, and I will choose the third color for this because they are fixed, so they will be obviously lighter. Let's select this. And let's change the text color of this thing. Like this is the icon color and this is the text color. Like I will select this thing to change it to white. And for the icon colors, I will not choose pure white because this is not pure dark. You can see that thing in the light version of this thing. I will select it and choose the third version. Okay, because in light theme we are using the third version for the icons. So in this I will use the third version from the lighter part. Okay, it's B400 and it will work fine. Now the remaining part is this, like the progress indicator. Its hex code is EAF3FF. So we have to find it, like select it and find the hex code. Look, here we have the hex codes. Now for the empty progress bar, we are using the lightest version of blue in the light theme, but in dark theme you might not be able to use the darkest color of blue because it might not work. Like if I just select it, it will not work. Like it's not looking good, and there is a very little differentiation in both of colors. Like you cannot tell which one is active, and there is a very little contrast in between these two colors. So I will select the color again, and I will go with the gray version. Like we are using the second color for the card, so I will go with the third one that will separate that thing from the background. Okay, then the color will work fine. Now we will do the same thing with this. We will select it. Let's change the text color to the purest white color we have. Then we will change the language color. Like this is the language color. You can see that I'll select the white color, like a pure white color, and choose the darkest color. Okay, again we have to fix the play button. I will select all of them. Okay, and I will break this color and type F here. Although you don't have to break the color style, I'm showing a very raw method like how things actually work. You have to use proper styles in both dark theme and light theme. You should never break your styles because that will create inconsistency in your design, and there will be a lot of problems in development if you break your styles. Okay, now for the action bar and the nav bar, I will simply copy it and simply select that and press Ctrl Shift R or Command Shift R if you are on Mac. Copy it and click here and press Command Shift R. Okay, I will do the same thing with the chip. Simply select it, copy and paste it here. Then we have the incomplete progress. Now for the incomplete progress, we use the third color in this way, but we can use second color in this because the card color is same as the background color, which is the darkest color. I will select this color here, like we have all the progress indicator selected, and I can use the second color. It will work fine because for the background color we are using the darkest color. Okay, and I will also change the primary color. Let me do this and reduce the saturation a bit, and this will work fine. Okay, this is not how we convert from light theme to dark theme. At industrial level, we have proper color system set it up by which you can convert your whole design in just one click. I just showed you a very raw method of how colors are converted from light theme to dark theme, and there are so many plugins and Figma variables by which you can just convert your whole design in just one click. But as a beginner, I will not recommend you doing that because you will not understand the fundamentals and how actually things work in UI design. You should always go for the slowest process. That will teach you a lot of things. You will see how to handle the error cases. Like in this, we got an error on play button. We fixed that thing manually. So you should always approach the rawest form as a beginner. But after some time, when you have a good practice of everything, you can switch to advanced methods to generate everything or to convert your design from light theme to dark theme. But as a beginner, convert every single element manually. Okay. And this was for this video. See you in next one. Bye.